popped into my head as you were talking was around boundaries, because I think that that's like a really big topic, word, like sort of almost trendy at the moment to be sort of talking about boundaries. That I, it comes up for me with clients where they're navigating these sort of challenges with family and they want to set boundaries, right? Or try to sort of change things within their families. And I think for me, I really found that boundaries or boundary setting, boundary exploration is like step two. Step one is so much more around like the client's internal um, acceptance or sort of
Yeah.
digesting, right, of what the
Yeah.
limitations are, of what, I don't know, being able to sort of help support someone to sort of validate what their struggles are, and then also maybe move towards some acceptance of limitations of what their parents or grandparents or other family were able to do, right? That
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
validity that they were harmed, and also then there's space to look at, well, your parents were limited in these ways, right? Based on what you were just said of
Hmm.
like less access, less openness or opportunity,
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
for their own reasons they were limited. And so I think that that's an important step before the sort of trying to change some of the things that are not
Yeah.
working, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a really good point. Like there's this you have to start with the individual first before you can start setting these boundaries, because it's like oftentimes I think about how this is, like you mentioned before, how it's very much like an emotion regulation kind of based problem. And it's really about, okay, what are my needs first? What are my wants? What are my feelings? And kind of having some definitions, labeling around that, and then
Yeah.
being able to and then pick up the tools to be able to take care of yourself, and then finally you can start setting boundaries. And it might be, like you're saying, it's um such a catchy phrase at this point, and it's such a big bucket to fill.
Mm.
It means so many things, and there's so many ways to go about it too.
Yeah, 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 for sure. It's its own topic. Perhaps our next webinar or podcast or whatever this is on boundaries. But yeah, just to continue also on what you were just saying, I think sort of helping someone figure out their own individual process of the needs and their wants and what is going on for them internally, and then
Mhm.
being able to ask for it, being able to express it. I think that's
Yeah,
something a lot of people struggle with, especially in Asian contexts with Asian
yeah,
upbringings, that to actually ask for your needs, to express what you feel is not something that was taught very easily to us, right? It's
yeah,
something you learn, and I think it can be learned in a therapeutic space, um, ideally with that safety of being able to really just learn for yourself first, and then really then be able to share it with people, whether family
mm,
or otherwise, like all relationships in your life.
yeah,
um yeah, it's an important and difficult skill, I think, to being it to be able to express what you need, right? Like it's
yeah,
but it's so
yeah,
important. It's like
yeah.
so sort of building blocks of healthy, relationships, but it's a lot to learn, and it's I think particularly challenging in an Asian context.
Yeah, yeah. And just kind of to piggy off that, I think a lot of times it's like there's a lot of invalidation that maybe our clients have experienced, like um their parents saying, "Oh, that's not a big deal, whatever you experienced." And then us
Right.
being able to create that safety where they can finally get to this point where they can acknowledge themselves, hey, that was a really tough situation, and that didn't feel good, that that hurt my feelings, and kind of being able to sit with it. And that's kind of something that, I feel like, me personally, I've worked on too, just learning to sit with my feelings. And I really like the whole idea of using self-compassion to validate your experience. Like, oh, somebody else in my situation would feel this way, even if maybe the parents or grandparents' narrative might be, oh, that's nothing, and kind of recalibrating that narrative.